need to eat the baby.
I have no respect for women for Trump, okay? I think so poorly of them, and the reason why...
Don't forget to go to bitshoot.com and check out my channel there and support. Supreme Court let Sandy Hook shooting lawsuit go forward. The Supreme Court said Tuesday a survivor and relatives of victims of the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting can pursue their lawsuit against the maker of the rifle used to kill 26 people. Are you kidding? The justices rejected an appeal from Remington Arms that argued it should be shielded by the 2005 federal law preventing most lawsuits against firearm manufacturers when their products are used in crimes. The rifle didn't kill your kids, okay? The people did. The court order allows the lawsuit filed in Connecticut State Court by a survivor and relatives of 9 victims who died at the Newtown, Connecticut school on December 14, 2012 to go forward. The lawsuit says the Madison, North Carolina-based company should never have sold a weapon as dangerous as the Bushmaster AR-15 style rifle to the public. Oh, you're stupid. Gunman Adam Lanza used it to kill 20 first graders and 6 educators. It also alleged Remington targeted younger at-risk males in marketing and product placement in violent video games. Lanza was 20 years old. Oh my gosh, so stupid. Lanza earlier shot his mother to death at a Newtown home and killed himself as police arrived at the school. The rifle was legally owned by his mother. The Connecticut Supreme Court had earlier ruled 4-3 that the lawsuit could proceed for now, citing the exemption in the federal law. The decision overturned a ruling by a trial court judge who dismissed the lawsuit based on the 2005 federal law, named the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. The federal law has been criticized by gun control advocates for being too favorable to gun makers, and it has been used to bar lawsuits over other mass killings. The case is being watched by gun control advocates, gun rights supporters, and gun manufacturers across the country, as it is the potential to provide a roadmap for victims in other mass shootings to circumvent the federal law and sue the makers of firearms. Suing the makers of the firearms isn't going to do crap, you idiot. The 2005 federal law has been cited by other courts that rejected lawsuits against gun makers and dealers in other high-profile shooting attacks, including the 2012 Colorado movie theater shooting and the Washington, D.C. sniper shootings in 2002. The National Rifle Association, 10 mainly Republican-led states and 22 Republicans in Congress were among those urging the court to jump into the case and end the lawsuit against Remington. Yeah, end the lawsuit. What, you think a lawsuit at a freaking gun manufacturer is going to do anything? You shut down every single gun company, there are still going to be mass killings, you idiot. Okay, if you remember from earlier, I reported that the company Juul is one of the companies responsible for the e-juice having the vaping health issues. So Juul's laying off 650 people in $1 billion cost-cutting plan. Bulk of cuts to hit marketing department. This is by Jordan Valinsky of Fake News Network. Fake News Network. Juul on Tuesday announced another major restructuring effort that includes layoffs and deep cost cutting. It's the third major shakeup since September as Juul attempts to revamp its strategy in the face of heightening scrutiny of vaping. The bulk of cuts will hit Juul's marketing department. Juul has agreed to pause its marketing efforts as regulators claim the company was trying to push its product on teens. Juul said it would cut 150 jobs and phase out the position of chief marketing officer, adding to 500 reductions announced in October. In total, the company is slashing 650 jobs, or 15% from its global workforce. At its peak earlier this year, Juul was hiring an average of 300 people per month. Juul said the layoffs are part of its effort to right-size the business. The slim-down strategy is part of Juul's broader efforts to regain public trust. The company's future advertising efforts will focus on direct marketing. It's still enforcing its strategy, if not advertising, on TV, in print, or online. Juul said it will continue to invest in its product team as the company explores new technologies to combat underage use, it said in a statement. Juul, for example, is developing a Bluetooth-connected smoking device. As the vapor category undergoes a necessary reset, the reorganization will help Juul Labs focus on reducing underage use, investing in scientific research, and creating new technologies while earning a license to operate in the U.S. and around the world, Juul CEO Casey Crosswaite said. Crossway issued that statement last month when he announced the departure of 4 executives, including the Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Financial Officer, Senior Vice President of Advanced Technologies, and Chief Administration Officer. Altria, which invested $12.8 billion for the 35% stake in Juul in 2018, hasn't seen its return flourish. The Marlboro owner recently announced it was taking a $4.5 billion write-down on its investment in Juul. Yeah, cigarette companies are really trying to get into it, and they're the ones that's going to screw it up. Juul's value deteriorated as concerns mounted over the health risk of vaping, and U.S. regulators pushed for a crackdown on e-cigarettes. Juul was also criticized for selling pods like flavors like mango, cream, and coconut or cucumber that became popular with teens. It stopped selling its popular mint pods last week. Tuesday's shakeup in the latest of changes instituted by Crosswaite since being named as CEO in late September. He was previously the chief growth officer at tobacco company Altria. Oh, so you so they're shuffling corporate people from a tobacco company to a vaping company. That's company's government affairs. In October, he gave Joe Murillo, another former Altria executive and Juul's chief regulatory officer, more power. The company's government affairs, corporate responsibility, and scientific affairs executives all now report to him. Several states are moving to ban e-cigarettes altogether, and top retailers like Walmart have announced they would no longer sell vaping products. Vaping lung injuries have topped 2,000 according to the Centers for Disease Control. Juul is bracing for a decision from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on a final rule that would remove some flavored nicotine vaping products from the U.S. market. It has refrained from lobbying the administration on its draft flavor guidance. So did you notice they didn't even mention that Juul had over $1 billion of tainted e-juice pods that's responsible for a lot of illnesses? Like, they just left that out. Wow. Hey. Bernie admits it. A mandatory buyback is just plain old confiscation. We already knew that. And he has thoughts about its constitutionality. No. Just no. On Sunday, Bernie Sanders came out and said what some Democrats haven't been willing to admit, except Beto O'Rourke. So-called mandatory gun buybacks are nothing but old-fashioned confiscation, the kind that the Constitution won't allow. As you know, though he wasn't the first Democrat to offer to steal from you, the idea of abducting America's most popular hunting rifle was shot out in grand fashion by squeaky clean tire-changing multimillionaire Beto O'Rourke, who already back after having given up politics. And some on the left are certainly like-minded. In October, Cory Booker announced that to call confiscation was doing the NRA's work for them. As I pointed out at the time, so was saying that. AOC was tickled pink by the idea of Beto's burglary bonanza. Small dollar grassroots campaigns, aka what beauty geek, right? Is that how you say it? I don't know. Insults here as pocket change out-fundraise him by millions. Our nation's leaders should be working to end the era of big money politics, not protect it. And Beto's gun policy isn't picking a fight, it's taking a stand. It's picking a fight. Kamala Harris, using the disconcerting yet largely meaningless term assault weapons, made clear in January she's good with badged men coming to your door. I encourage you to watch this entire video. There are many layers. Senator Kamala Harris calls for banning semi-automatic weapons, says they have no place in civil society. And here's Kamala from an interview from the Washington Examiner. I also have part of my background and experience working on this issue. When I was Attorney General of California and we put resources into allowing law enforcement to actually knock on doors of people who were on a list where they had been found by a court to be a danger to themselves and others. And that's not scary at all. They were on a list where were precluded and prohibited from owning a gun because of a conviction that prohibited that ownership. Those lists were combined, and then we sent law enforcement out to take those guns. Because, listen, we have to deal with this on all levels, but we have to do this with a sense of urgency. God, people are so stupid, man. But if you're worried about the man coming to grab your gun, if it helps, remember, it'll very possibly be this guy. And as for Oral O'Rourke's plan to take your stuff, here's what Bernie had to say at a Grange Job Town Hall in Charles City, Iowa. I don't support a mandatory buyback is essentially confiscation, which I think is unconstitutional. It means that I'm going to walk into your house and take something whether you like it or not. I don't think that stands up to constitutional scrutiny. Wow. I don't know, I could be wrong about this, but I think that's the first time I heard him, support that. That's crazy. I think it's just talk for the election, because if he gets into the general, he's going to need to win over some independents. And Sanders has a less thefty plan, which includes opposing the NRA, increasing background checks, banning the sale of assault weapons, which presumably means any rifle that looks scary, even though most gun deaths are caused by firearms that look more like what Hunter carried. Nevertheless, Bernie's on it, and he's fighting against intimidation controlling, you. We cannot allow the NRA to dictate policy. Oh, but he wants you to let him dictate it for you. Because they've intimidated President Trump, and they've intimidated the Republican Party. I'm not going to be intimidated by them. Anyways, like, subscribe, share, comment, donate, converse. If you're watching on YouTube, please go over to bitshoot.com, and I'll have more exclusive videos on there. YouTube sucks.